Hello everyone, this is the fifth video of our series of learning Python from basics to the advanced level. I am Shriya Keshri and I will be helping you in understanding all the concepts in these videos. This is the fifth video and we will be learning loops in Python. We will learn about while loop, for loop, range, break, continue and pass condition in the loops. Yes. In the previous lecture, we have learned about the if statement, if else and else statement, and we also learned how the nested if conditions work, and we learned how match cases work. Basically, these were the conditional statement that we had covered, and we had also practiced some question on this topic. In this video, we shall be learning about the main foundation of loop. We will understand how loops work, and we will also learn the types of loop or iteration that we use in Python. These are the two types where one is the while and other one is for. Then we will learn about the range function which is used for precise numeric sequences. We use range in for, so we will be learning that as well. Then we have to understand control execution flow, how we redirect or terminate a loop execution using break, continue, and pass. And then we will solve some real problems. Okay, so let's start now. So the first question which arises here is what is a loop? So the definition says a loop repeatedly executes a block of target code as long as a specified conditional state is satisfied. So let's take an example from our daily life. If I say, while you are living, you have to breathe. So what does it mean? It means that till this condition is satisfied, as long as this condition is satisfied that you are living, you have to breathe. You have to execute this process as long as the condition is satisfied. So as long as you are living, you have to breathe. This is what a loop is. Loop executes a particular block of code. It executes a process repeatedly as long as a particular condition is satisfied. So this is what loop is. For example, we have to count students present in the classroom. So we will say that until no students are left in the class, we have to count. Yes. So we will start counting and we will end the loop only when the all the students in the class are counted. Next example is sending bulk automated emails to client. Yes, so we will say that unless there is any client left, you have to send automated emails to each one of them. Then we have generating multiple tables. Multiplication tables. Okay. So yeah, when we write any kind of multiplication table, such as let's consider table of 2. So we write 2's table till 10, right? So we will say unless the number reaches 10, you have to write the multiplication table. So this is the condition, and we will write that we will execute a block of code again and again as long as that condition is satisfied. Then we have to calculate total for online shopping cart. So we will say that as long as there is a article inside that cart item, you have to add the prices. Yes. So this is what loops are for. Now in Python, we have two kind of loops. The first one is the while loop, and the second one is the for loop. So this both have some basic differences, and we have to learn both of them. Okay, so the first one is the while loop. While loop executes a statement repeatedly as long as a given Boolean condition remains true. Best used when the number of iteration is not known in advance. So let us take such kind of condition where we don't know how many times the loop is going to run. For example, the first example that I gave you, that while you are living, you have to breathe, right? So we don't know how long we are going to live. Yes, we may live for 5 years, maybe 2 years, or maybe 50 years. We don't know how many years we are going to live, right? So when we do not know how many times we are going to iterate, we just know that there is a condition. So we use while loop, and it will execute a statement repeatedly as long as that Boolean condition remains true. So it will it will check if the condition is true, and if it is, it will run. It won't check how many times the iteration have been done. For the next loop that we have to study is the for loop. It iterates over a sequence such as string, list, tuple, or range, idle when iterating through known collection or iterating through known collection or predetermined counts. Okay, so what this for loop does? So in this case, we use for loop for iterating over a sequence like a string, a list, or a tuple. We iterate through a sequence one by one, and for that we use this for loop. Yeah, and if we have to iterate over such kind of collection where we know the counts of the values, we know how many times we have to run the loop, then we use for loop. So with the basic difference between while and the for loop is that in the while condition, we don't know how many times we are going to run the loop. And for the for loop, we know the number of count. The count is predetermined. Yes. Um, In other languages such as C, C++, or Java, we have a do-while loop as well. But in Python, we do not have a native do-while loop. So, yeah. So there are only two loops that we have to study. That is the while loop and the for loop. Now, the first one is the while loop. So we have to first understand the syntax, how we write a condition. So first we have to So we have to understand the syntax of the while loop. So while loop continuously checks the given condition before running the inner block of code. So the first thing that we have to consider is a condition that is evaluated before each iteration. If the condition is true, body executes. If a condition becomes false, loop terminates immediately. So how the syntax work is while condition, then we have to write a block of statement. So what is happening here is that we write that while is the keyword here for making a while loop. Yeah. So we say while this condition works, while this condition is true, you have to execute this block of statements. So this is how we write the while loop. While, then a condition, and then we write whatever statement we have to run. So here is a flow diagram for how while loop works. So first we start the loop and we have to check a condition. If the condition is true, then we have to execute the loop body and we update the variable. And lastly, when the condition becomes false, we exit the loop. Here, this thing is what you have to understand. That we need to update a variable, and I will show this using one example. Yeah. For example, here we have to print number from 1 to 5. Yes. So what is happening here? See, we have first taken a number I that is equal to 1. Now we write a condition that I should be less than or equal to 5. Yes. And for each time this condition evaluates to true, we print I and we increase I's value by 1. So what happens in the first iteration, I's value is 1. So the condition is true and so in the output we print I's value that will be 1. And then we add 1 to I which will become 2. Now again in the second iteration we check if I is less than 5, now I becomes 2. Yes, so 2 is less than 5, the condition will be true again. Hence, we will print the value of I that is 2. So we print 2 and then we add 1 to I that will make it 3. So again for the third iteration, we will check if 3 is less than equal to 5. If it's true, then the output we will print 3. Then again we add 1 to it. For the fourth iteration, again we will print 4 because the condition is true. We will add 5 to it Then again we will check if it's true. Yes, it is true, then the output will be 5. And lastly, when we add one more to it, it becomes 6. Yes. So now when we will check if I is smaller than equal to 5, then we'll say that the condition is now false. And since the condition is false, we stop here. We do not execute this code of block, and hence there will be no output afterward it. Let's try to run it ourselves. Okay. So what it says that while first we have to initialize a variable that is 1. While I is less than equal to 5, you have to print I, and for each case you have to increase the value of I. Yep. So yeah, this is how it does. For first iteration, I will be 1. For second, I will be incremented to 2. Then for third, for fifth, sixth. Yeah. When it will reach 6, the condition will be false. We won't be executing it any further. Okay, now what will happen if this updation won't be happening? Then it will result in an infinite loop. Why? Because i's value is not changing. I is always less than 5. So there is no definite number till when the loop will execute, and it will end up to be an infinite loop. Yep. So this is it. Yeah. If I will change this condition to 10, then I will print the number to 10. If I change it to 100, then the numbers will be printed till 100. Yeah. So this is how we use a while loop. We have to use a variable here, and we check a condition, and for each condition we have to increment the value of I so that it won't make an infinite loop. Yes. Now is the concept of the infinite loop. Infinite loop executes infinitely when the condition or the expression is hard coded to true, meaning that it will never evaluate to false. Since the condition will never be false, we will execute it again and again and again, which will run endlessly. So this is why what infinite loop is. I just show you. If I remove this part, then it becomes a infinite loop. See. It will become an infinite loop, and even the interpreter says that yes, let me stop now. The execution is halted, it's not finished. Okay. So this is what we do. So what we need to understand is that we have to write such kind of condition that at one point will become false. If it doesn't, then we will be stuck in an infinite loop and our program won't be working. If we have to stop an infinite loop in our terminal, we have to use Control plus C from the keyboard to interrupt the signal and break the execution. So we have to be careful about the condition, and we have to always avoid an infinite loop. Now there is this topic for the common mistakes, that is forgetting an updater. Yeah, if we do not update it, without it the variable I stays fixed at 1 forever, then it will also cause the loop for an unintended infinite stream. So we have to always ensure your loop state variable progresses toward making the condition false. We have to always make sure that after some time the condition becomes false. Yes, so this is what we have to learn about while loop. This was all about the while loop. I hope you understand. Now we will come to the for loop. Yeah. So this is the for loop. And just as I told you, for loop in Python iterates over a member of a sequence in order, executing the code block for each element. So the support sequence here are string, list, tuple, and there is a range object output as well. So what does it say? It says that if there is a collection or a sequence that has an order in it, such as string, list, or tuple, Then we have a loop that executes a particular block of code for each of that element. It iterates through the sequence and it takes each element in the sequence and run the code for each one of them. Yes. So this is how we use for loop. Yes. So this is the basic example. We will first have to understand the range or the range function object before we get into here. So as we know that we can use for loop whenever we have to run for a particular number of time. Yes. In the while loop we saw that we have to write a condition and that condition can go up to the infinite loop as well. But in case of for, we have a function called range. We have a function called range that helps us to run a code from some numbers and count till the last number. And for as many times inside that range, we have to run a particular code here. Yeah. Yeah. So what is happening here? I am saying that in the range starting from 0 till 5, you have to run this code which says print hello. Yes. So what happens here? It starts with 0 and for the maximum value it does 5 minus 1. So the range of this range function is main is equal to 0 and max is equal to 5 minus 1, that is 4. This is the thing you need to understand here. Yeah. So it will start from 0, it will start counting from 0 and it will go till 4. And for each of that count, it executes this value. So for 0, it will print hello. For 1, for 2, for 3, for 4. It won't take 5 because the maximum limit is 5 minus 1. What if I say that you have to print I instead of printing hello? Now see here. It starts from 0, then it takes 1, 2, 3, and 4, but it won't take 5. This is how range works. So here it says for I in range 5, print I. So the default counting starts from 0. Then we take 1, 2, 3, 4, but we stop right before reaching 5. We have some ways of writing range function. Either we can write it like this, that we have to start from 0 and then we will have to reach 5. This is one way of writing it. But since 0 is the default value of starting, so if I write it like this only, then also it will work the same. Why? Because range always starts from 0 unless we tell it not to. So if I write it like this, I'm saying that you have to start from 2 and you have to stop just before reaching 5. So see, 2, 3 and 4. It starts from 2 and it stops before 5. So this is the another way of using range. And there is one more way of using range where we can tell the interpreter how many gaps we want in our increasing or decreasing of the range. So see what happens here. I'm saying that we have to start from 0 and we have to stop just before reaching 10. And we have to increment by 2. Now the value of I is not getting incremented by 1 as the default. Now we are incrementing it by 2. Such as when we started from 0, then we reached 2, then we reached 4, 6 and 8. Now we are not executing the code like we used to do. We are not printing 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, we are now incrementing it by 2. So we have printed all the even number here. What if I started with 1? Then I will get all the odd numbers. Yeah. So here we will get all the odds number in here. Okay. Now, if I want my loop to work in a descending order, here we are all always printing the numbers in ascending order. If I try to do it in the descending order, I will say that you have to start with 10. You have to go till 0. And for each iteration, I want you to decrease the number minus 1. Yes. So now what happens? We are printing the number in the reverse way. Why? Because I say that we have to start 10, start with 10, and for each iteration, I want it to remove minus 1. So first it takes 10, then it removes 1, again 1 is removed, and hence we will get a descending one. In this case, the maximum will be 10 and the minimum will be 0 plus 1, that is 1 here. So this is how range works. So in the nutshell, what we have learned so far here in the range section, that first we can write range like this, where we specify the first where we have to start and the last where we have to reach. Other way is to just write the last position where we have to reach, because 0 is default in the case. And the other condition is that when we can specify how many gaps we are going to take in between. So these are the three ways of writing range. So we say for I in that range, for I in this counting, you have to do certain task and this will be the task. The default value is 0 here. Yeah. Now we have to iterate over a string. This is what in the earlier case we used range to iterate over some numbers or counting. Now we are going to iterate over a string. As we know that the for loop is either used for iterating over member of a sequence, and that sequence might be string, list, tuple, or range object. We learned about the range object. Now we will be learning how we do it for string, list, and tuple. So first we have to iterate over a string. So how we do it? We say that we first initialize a variable and we give it a value that is a string, and then we say for ch in name. That means for each character in this name string, we have to print that character. So yeah, let me show you. So my name is Shriya. Yes, I will write it down here. Okay. Now I will say for ch in name, you have to print ch. What happens here? When I execute this loop, it goes to this name. It says that yes, this is a string, and then for every character inside that string, it executes this block of code. So first it takes s and it prints that s. Next it takes h, it will print h, then r, then I, then y, then a. So for each character in the name, it will print that character, it will execute that block of code, and it's not necessary to write ch only here. We write ch because it shows us the word character, right? But we can use any variable name that we want. If I write for letter in name, then it will do the same word. It doesn't matter what name you take for the variables here. This is just your way, whatever you are comfortable in. So it says for ch in name, you have to print ch, and hence all the letters are getting printed here. So the loop extracts one character at a time from the string name during each sequential pass. So this is how we iterate over a string. Now we have to iterate over a list. So the process is very same here. Now we have to first make a list. So let me consider a list named age, and I will store some ages of people here. Yeah. Okay. Now what will I do? I will say for I in age. Yeah. So this will be the loop. So what is this loop doing here? So it will first get here in the age named list. So it will first get into the list and it will check for each element. Now this I will be each element in each sequence. For the first sequence, for the first iteration, I will be 12, then I will be 45, then I will be 62, and then lastly I will be 13. So if I will print I, what will we get now? We will get each of the element printed here, 12, 45, 62, 13. How is this happening here? When I'm writing this for statement, I am iterating over the elements of the list. So this is how we iterate over our list. We have this list marks is equal to 80, 90, and 95. For mark in marks, we have to print mark. So it iterates over each element and then it prints in the console. So the variable mark automatically binds to each numeric item in marks sequentially. So this is how we iterate over a list. Yeah. Now we have this range function. Okay. So the range function yields an immutable sequence of number. It accepts up to 3 arguments. So such as we were learning how we can iterate over the sequence of letters that will be string or elements that was list. Similarly, we can iterate over a sequence of numbers through the range function. And range function can be used in 3 ways, just as I told you before also. Since the default value is 0 here, we can simply write the range to the stopping value and it generates a sequence from 0 up to stop minus 1. Similarly, we have range start and stop. Here we can specify where you have to start. The range doesn't start from 0 in this case, in the default case. So we start the sequence from startup to stop minus 1. And lastly, we have this range start, stop, and step. So we generalize where we have to start. We have to tell where we have to stop the sequence, and we then tell the step value by which we have to increment the variable here. We need to tell the step value. Either we have to increase it by 1 or 2. This is the incrementing value. We might use a negative value for the decreasing order as well. So the stop boundary argument is always excluded from generated sequence. So the loop always runs till stop minus 1. It always stop 1 before it. So we say that the stop boundary argument is always excluded from generated sequence. So this is the range function that we have to learn. Now here is an example for each one of them. For I in range 5, print I. So what is happening here? We are not specifying the start position here. So the loop will take the default start, that is 0. We have made the stop boundary, that is 5, and 5 will be excluded. We will only run till 5 minus 1. And the default step is 1. So we are incrementing it by 1 only because we have not specified the incrementing value. So we will take the default value. It will start from 0, then it will increase 1, then again 1, 1, 1, it will be increased, and we will get this output 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is how the default case works here. In the other case, we can specify the start point. So instead of taking the default start, that is 0, now the loop is starting from the custom start, that in this case is 2. So we start from 2 and the stop boundary is 8, that is excluded also. So we start from 2, we do 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we stop at 7, that is before 8. We do not print 8. Lastly, we also customize the step as well. We tell the loop where we have to start and where we have to stop, and we also tell that we have to increment by 3 values instead of 1. Now we are customizing the steps and we are telling it that you have to increment I by 3. So first here the loop start with 2, then 3 is incremented to it, so now it becomes 5. Again 3 is incremented, 8 is here, then 11, 14, and 17. This is how it works. Now we have reverse counting with range. So what happens here? So what happens here for I in range 10, 0 and -1, we have to print I. So we are specifying that now you have to start from 10 and you have to go till 0. Yes. And for each step, you have to subtract 1 instead of incrementing. Now you decrement the value sequentially. So first the loop starts from 10, then 1 is subtracted, that makes it 9, then 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That becomes the reverse counting. Now we are getting to print the number in the descending order. So this is the simple approach where we use the negative step to print the descending values here. Yeah. Now is the nested loop. Just as how we learned about the nested if condition, we have this nested loop condition that a loop placed inside the code body of another outer loop. So there is an outer loop which is working, and then inside it there is another loop. So for each iteration of the outer loop, the inner loop is executing. Yes. So the execution order rule here is for every single iteration of the outer loop, the inner loop executes completely through all its iteration. Yeah. Now we have nested loop example. Yeah. So it says for I in range 3, you have to make another loop that is for j in range 2 and you have to print I and j. So what happens here? First, we will start with the execution of the outer block. For I in range 3, so we'll start our range from 0, then 1, then 2. Yes. So first I will be 0. Now for i's value 0, we are executing another block. For j in range 2, that will make it 0 and 1, yes. So for outer 0, we will first run j will become 0 and again j will become 1. So the same outer value of I here, j will take 0 and 1. So the output will be 0, 0, 0. Again, for the next iteration of the outer loop, I will become 1. So for each of the outer loop, the inner loop will work again and again, and z will be 0 and 1 here. So the output will be 1, 0, 1, 1. Similarly, in the third loop, we will get 2, 0 and 2, 1. This is how we use the nested loop. Yeah. Now we have a concept here that is pattern changing. So in Python, multiplying a string by an integer repeats the string I times. And we use it to print complex pattern techniques. Okay. So what do we have here? We are saying that for I in range 1, 5, you have to print this star multiplied by I. So what happens here? First I will be 1. So for one star is getting printed here. Then I will be 2. So 2 stars, then 3 and 4. So what happens here? You can see this is a triangle. Yes. If you see this is a triangle, it's a right angle triangle that is being formed here. So what we are doing here is that we are making patterns. We are making patterns using the loop. And this is one of the basic concept of using loops. Yeah. Now we have to understand this some of the statements here. The first one is the break statement. What happens in the break statement is that while we are executing a loop, let's just say that we do not want to execute the loop if there is one condition inside the loop. For example, here we are running the loop for the range 10. It will start from 0, it will run till 9. But I do not want the loop to run if I hit 5. If I get to encounter 5, then I want the loop to break instantly. I want the loop to stop and not execute any further. Then I will use this break statement. What's happening now that for I in range 10, I starts from 0. It prints I, then 1, then 2, 3, 4. Now when I will become 5, this condition will become true. If I is equal to 5, this condition will become true, and then I execute this break code, and this break code will stop the execution of this loop. It won't let the loop work any further, and it will break out of that loop. This is the function of break. If we need to immediately halt the execution of the loop and exit out completely, then we use the break statement. Yeah. Then we have the continue statement. What if I want to print numbers from 0 to 6 here? Yeah, the example says for I in range 6. So we start from 0 and we go till 6. Yes. Now, if but in this range, in this loops, I do not want to print 3. I only want to print the other numbers from the range 0 to 6, but I do not want to print 3. Then I will use this continue statement. Continue statement means that if you encounter this number, if you get I is equal to 3, then you should do nothing. You just have to continue to the next loop. You just check the next iteration. So what happens here? This iteration stops immediately, and we jump directly to the next loop pass. So skip the remainder of the current iteration, and we jump directly to the next loop pass. This is the use of the continue statement. So in the break statement, whenever a condition was true, we halt the execution of the loop altogether and we exited out of the loop. But in the condition of continue, we are not stopping the whole loop execution, but we are only jumping to the next iteration. Yes. Next is the pass statement. What happens here? This is basically working as a placeholder, that we do not know what to do right now for a particular number in the range. Then we write this pass, that we will further write some code in the future. So as a placeholder, we will write pass. If I write pass here, then it will ignore the execution here, but it won't throw any error. So when we can use pass is that when we are defining empty loop structure during initial scaffolding, that we do not know what we have to write inside the loop. So we just make the loop, we write pass, and we will further write the code inside it later. Then we have stubbing the unwritten function or classes. Then we have preventing syntax error where code block is required. Yeah. So if I will write a code and I won't write anything inside it, it will end in a syntax error, right? So if I want to write that code later in the future, I will use this pass statement, which will work as a placeholder for my Q code. So loop control statement summary. So we learned 3 statement here: break, continue, and pass. The function of break is to terminate the loop entirely, and it exits the loop. So the typical purpose is we only exit upon finding an item or a condition match. Let's imagine this condition that you are iterating over a list, and you have to find if we get 3 or not. So we are iterating over a list. Wait, let me show you the execution. Yeah, we have a list here. Let me show you. Yeah. So A is a list, and it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Now I am saying that I have to loop over. I have to iterate over A. Yes. So I will write for I in A. What will I do for each iteration? I need to print I. So what happens here? It will print each of the number. But what if I say that if you encounter 4, you have to stop immediately. I do not want you to run any further than that. You have to stop then. So I will write if I is equal to 4. Then what will you do? You will break. So now what happens here? It will print 1, 2, 3. When it reaches this 4, it gets into this condition, and it is condition say break. So what this break does? It stops the execution of the loop entirely. It exits the loop. So now the loop works only till 3, and for the other elements, the loop doesn't even work. because of the break statement. So we terminally, we terminates the loop entirely and we exits it immediately. Okay, next is the continue statement. What happens in the continue statement? What if I do not want to print 5? So I will say that if I encounter 5, I want you to completely ignore the codes written afterwards and I want you to jump in the to the other iteration. So what happens here? It will print 1, 2, 3, 4. When it reaches 5, it ignores 5 and run to the next iteration, that is 6 and 7. So continue is used if I want a particular iteration to be skipped. We skip a current step and jump to the next iteration. This helps us in filtering unwanted element or skip processing. Next is pass. What does pass mean? Pass is just a placeholder. It does nothing here. So, see what happens here. For I in A, we are executing the loop for each of the elements inside A. Yes. Here there is a condition for checking if I is equal to 5. So when I reach I is equal to 5, I will say that this is true. But inside this code, we have pass. What does pass means? You don't have to do anything with that. You just can execute the remaining code. You just ignore this pass. This is nothing but a placeholder. In future, if I want to print 5 instead of the integer 5, then I will do it like this, and this happens. But right now I do not know what to do with this, so I am just writing this condition, and for a placeholder I will use this pass. Now if I run it, it will be running just as it's supposed to be. This is just a placeholder. If I do not write this pass, it will become an error. Yes, why? Because the condition is not completed. We have to write something, and since we do not have the code right now, we use a placeholder, that is pass. So this is how the 3 of this statement works. So pass does nothing, but the execution continues normally, and it is a placeholder for future code blocks. So yeah, this is it. Now we have a few practice questions. Let us write it down. Write a Python program to print number from 1 to 20 using a while loop. Okay. So for while loop, you have to first write a variable. Since we have to start from 1, I will write value of this variable to be 1. Now I will write while, and I have to specify a condition. So what will be the condition here? We have to iterate till 20, right? So I will say that while I is smaller than equal to 20, what you have to do here, you have to print I, and for each iteration I want you to increment it by 1. Now if I run it, what is happening here? It will print 1. It will print number from 1 till 20. So what is happening here? I am first declaring a variable, and then I am using that variable to run this loop. And for each loop, I am incrementing the value, and I'm printing it right here. And I check that this I should be smaller than 20. So this is it. This is how we do it. If I wanted to use a for loop here, I would do for I in range 1 to 21. 21, you have to print I. So what happens now? Yeah, it is printing from 1 to 20. The range starts from 1. So we are also starting from 1 here in the output section. And it will run till 21. So this we are getting 20 because the last value is 1 minus this maximum value that we write here. So this is how we print a number from 1 to 20 using a while loop. Now the second question says that you have to write a program that displays all even number between 1 to 50 using a for loop. Okay. So I will tell you how to do it with both of the loop. Okay. Now let's see. For I in range 1 to 50. Yeah, this is what the question says. You have to print the number between 1 to 50. And since we have to print the number between them, we do not have to write any, do not have to increase this value. Now it will work. Okay. So, what I am doing here is now if I check if I percent 2 is equal to 0, then you have to print I. Yeah. What happens here? I am saying that you have to start from 2. I know 0 and 1 are not even, so I am starting with 2 only. And you have to run till 50. Why? Because I wanted it to be between 1 and 50, right? So we are not taking 50 here. If I wanted to take 50 also in my execution, then I would have taken this 51. Now, for each of the number between the range of 2 to 50, I am checking for each iteration that if it is divisible by 2 or not. So yeah, for the range we will get 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and all the numbers. But now we are checking if this number is divisible by 2, then only we are printing it. Yeah. So 3, 5 and all other numbers are getting ignored and only those in that list which are even number is now getting printed here. So this is the first way by which we can do it. We can also do it using the step counting, the range. So in that case, what will we do here is for range 2, comma 15, we have to increase it by 2. I write the step value to be 2. And then we have to change I. Now what happens here? It will print all the even number. As you can see here, it is printing all the even number by, because we are starting from 2 and then we are incrementing it by 2. So first we will start with 2, then we add it 2 to it, then it becomes 4, and hence all the even number is getting executed here. So this is how you do it using the step. Okay. Yeah. Now I will show it how you can do it using the while loop. So I say while I is less than equal to 50, you have to print I, and now you have to increment it by 2. So if I run it, I will get a similar output. Why? Because now I am incrementing I by 2 instead of 1. So it will print all the even number. So yeah, this is how you can do it by with while loop. Okay. So these are the way for printing even number from the for loop, and this is from the while. Okay. For the third question, we have accept an integer input from the user and print its complete multiplication table. Okay. So we have to take a number from our user. Yeah. We have to take an input from our user which says enter your number. Okay. So we are taking the number as an input. And what we are going to do it now is that we will use a loop to iterate in the range. We will start from 1 and we have to go till 10. So I'm taking 11 here. Okay. And now what will I have to print here is for num into I is equal to num into I. Yeah. Now I will run it. What happens now? Uh-oh. What am I doing? Okay, so now I am giving it an input to this number and now it is printing the table. So how do we do it? I have written a formatted string. I am looping I from 1 to 10. So for each loop, I have to print my number. The number will be from here. So it will print this 2 for each the iteration. Then I have this x and then I will print I. So for each iteration, I will start from 1 and it goes on incrementing 1, 2, 3, 4 as you can see it here. And here in the last, I will multiply num and I. So it will show this answers here. So this is how you print the multiplication table. Now let me take some bigger number. So this is the table for 13. If I try to take some very big number, only 7. Yeah. So here is the execution for this. So this is how you can print a multiplication table here. Okay. Now, lastly, we have this question to compute and print the sum of the first 100 natural number. So what we do here is we have to print the sum of first 100 natural numbers. So we need to write a loop that will run from first 100 natural number that is going to start with 100 and we will reach to 0 and 1 lakh. So yeah, this is it. And what do we have to do here is that we will make a variable. We will make a variable that is total sum, and we initialize it with 0. And now when I will run the loop, I will make sure that total sum um, is getting this I value. And now lastly, I will print total sum. Yeah. So what happens here for each number in this range of 1 to 101, that the value of this I is getting stored in total sum variable. And lastly, after all the execution, I'm printing total sum that is we are getting 5050. So this is how we compute and print the sum of the first 100 natural numbers. So these are the practice questions we did here. Acha, we can also do it using the while we can also do it using our while loop where we can say that it should be less than one. Yes, okay. Yeah. And our here is that I will sum it up to total sum 1. And for each case, I'm going to increase 1. Yep. So it what's happening here? Yeah. Yeah. Now it will. Yeah. So now it is working properly. What we have done here is that we are starting from 1, we are implementing each value, and for each value, we are storing the value in the total sum variable, and then we are printing the variable. So this is how you can do it using the while loop instead of the for loop. Okay. So yeah, this is the practice question that we did. And lastly, these are some of the few coding challenges. Okay. So yeah. Okay. Let us do this question. We have reverse counting from 10 to 1. I have already done it before, so I will do it faster this time. For I in range 10 to 1 and minus 1, we have to print the reverse counting, that is print I. So what happens here? We are starting from 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and this is how we print the reverse counting from 10 down to 1. So I have did this before as well. Now if I want to do it using the while loop, I will start from 10. So while I is greater than equal to 0, no, not equal to 0, it should be greater than 0. Yeah. So this is the condition. You have to print I, and for each iteration you have to decrement it by 1. So for the for loop, we were printing this, and similarly from the while loop itself, we are now printing the reverse value. So this is how you can print the reverse value from 10 to 0 using while loop and using this for loop. Oh, so this is it. Now it says you have to compute the factorial of a given number. If you remember what a factorial is, it is very simple to print it. Factorial is basically that for counting in a part till a particular number, you have to store the multiplication product of the numbers till that point. Okay, so I am taking a input from a user. Enter the number. Yeah. So wait, let me first remind you what factorial is before we start the execution. So if I say that the factorial of 5, if I tell you the factorial of 5, then you have to do this basically. This is what a factorial means. So from starting from 5 to 0, you have to multiply each of the values, and the final value of them is stored, and that value is called the factorial. This is what the factorial is. 5 for 20, and we have 6 here, so we will get 120. This is how the factorial is calculated. So if I want to do it using my for loop, you can see here that I have to execute a reverse reverse counting here, right? You can do it either by reverse counting or by the ascending order only. It doesn't matter. I will show you in both ways. So what will we do here? We will start our range from num. We will go till 1, and for each one I have to decrease minus 1. And yeah, I will also need to store the result. And yeah, so result will store the product of all the value of I. And lastly, once this code is done, we will write print result, and this is what happens here. So if I write 5 in this, it will give us 120, just as how we are calculating here. So yeah, this is the execution. This is the first way of doing it. I can also do it with the ascending order instead of this reverse counting. For I in range 1 to 6, have to multiply result with I. Yeah. So let me comment this out for you. Yeah. Now let us run this. So we again give it 5 in the input. And yes, this is the answer. What happens now? It will start from 1. So we are going like this. We start from 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, and then 5. And since we do not run this 6, so this 6 will be excluded. And hence we find the result. If I want to use the while loop here, then I will simply make this 1, and I will write while I is less than equal to 5. No 5. No. You have to multiply the result with I. So again, the execution will be same, and we will get our answer. The execution is slow here right now. Wait a moment. So now it is working. I had missed this implementation here. Yeah, now it is working the way we want it to. So this is how you can print the factorial of a given number. Then we have to generate a basic Fibonacci series sequence. Okay. So you have to first understand what is a Fibonacci series. Let me help you understand it. Okay. So Fibonacci series is a number pattern where each number is the sum of the two numbers before it. So here what will we be doing here now is this. See this. So we are first taking 0 and 1, that is the default value. Then we add 0 and 1 and we get this. Again we add this 2 to get 2. Then we add this 1 and 2, we will get 3. Then we add 3 and 2, we get 5. Then we add 3, 5, we get 8. Then 5, 8 is 13. So what we are doing, we are adding two consecutive numbers to get the other number and then the loop works. So it is a number pattern where each number is the sum of two numbers before it, starting with 0 and 1. So this is what your Fibonacci series is. Yep. This is the Fibonacci series that we have to understand here. Okay, now let us try to write the code of it. Okay. So how we can print this Fibonacci series? Let us get into here. Okay. Let us take an input from our user till which we have to write the Fibonacci series. Okay. Enter your number. Okay. So now what will we do here? So I will show the way of writing it with for and I will show it with while also. So now I have to take two default values 0 and 1 as we learned here also that this 0 and 1 is the default value that we have to take in the Fibonacci series. That is what I'm doing here. I have to take A and B, that is 0 and 1. Now I have to run a loop for I in range. Now what we are going to do, we have to print A and we do this. So what is happening here? First we print A, that will be 0. Now we are using this reinitialization, and what we are doing it now, A will become B and B will become the sum of A and B. So what we are doing here is first we print this 0, then this A will become 1 and this B will become the sum of these values. So we are basically shifting the position as we wanted in the Fibonacci series. So now if I print it, let me take the value 8. So yeah, the first value is 0, then 1, then 1 again, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, just as how we know here. So what happens here? First 0, A is equal to 0 and B was 1. Now, once I printed this 0 out, I am taking the value of B into A. So now, since B's value was 1, so now A has become 1. And as for B is now A plus B, that is 0 plus 1, that is 1. So just like this, we are implementing the value in B and we are printing the value of A for each iteration. This is how you can do it using our float for loop. The next one, we can use while loop for doing the same process. So how we are going to do it? We will have a variable declaration here that is 0. And then I have to write a condition that while should be less than num. Uh-oh. Yeah. So while I should be less than num, then what we have to do here is that we have to print a, and for each one we have to repeat the same process b plus yes, and then we have to increase the iteration value I to +1. So now if I give the value 8 here, what will it do? It will again print the same Fibonacci series that we wanted. So this is how we print the Fibonacci series here. Okay, so the last question we have here is that we have to check if the given number is prime. So, yeah, once a minute. Yeah, okay, so where were we? Yeah, we have to check whether a given number is prime or not. So, yeah, first we take an input from our user. This is how we are doing it. And we have to first check that if num is less than equal to 1. If it is less than equal to 1, then it will be definitely not be prime. So we will print not prime. Yes. Okay. If not, if this num is greater than I, then what will we do? We will use this loop here. Yeah. So we have to use this loop if num percent I is equal to 0. If any number is going to divide this, then we have to print not prime. And we need to break it. We do not need to execute the whole process. And else print. Right. Let me run it. Let me check it first. Okay. What if I write that? Okay, so this is working. So what we are doing here, we are first checking if the number is less than 1 or not. If it is less than 1, then it definitely is not prime. So we just write it prime. If the number is greater than 1, then we execute a loop here. So for the loop in range, we start from 2 and we check till that number. And for each number in that range, we check if that number is getting divisible by that value or not. If it is getting divisible, that means it is not prime. It is a fact. It has some factors other than 1 and itself. So yeah, that number will not be prime. So we do not have to check any other number. We get our answer. We print not prime, and we break the loop there itself. But if all the numbers in that range from 2 to num is not dividing the num by I, so we get out of that loop successfully and then we print prime. So this is how you can find if a number is prime or not. This was it. We did all the questions. So we learned about the while loop, we learned about the for loop, we learned how range function works, we learned about nested loops, and we also understood the flow control of how these works, how pass, continue, and break works as well. In the next video, we will be starting functions in Python. This is one of the most important concept here. So yeah, we will stop this video right here. Let's meet in another video where we will be learning functions. Okay, bye bye.